Hello, welcome to this training session dedicated today to a well-known painting, Botticelli Spring. First of all, we are going to start by a video. What if one of the greatest masterpieces of the Renaissance concealed a biblical story beneath a mythological setting? In Spring, Botticelli does not merely celebrate nature. He conceals, with rare virtuosity, a profound spiritual message. The story of the Holy Spirit, original sin, and the salvation of humanity. Here is a visual and symbolic investigation into the most esoteric painting of the Renaissance. Chapter 1, a reversed reading. The painting seems to illustrate a pagan scene. Venus, Cupid, the nymphs, the vegetation, but Botticelli, influenced by Hermeticism and the teachings of Marsilio Ficino, hides a Christian narrative in an ancient setting. It is not a juxtaposition, but a fusion of biblical and mythological stories. Chapter 2, Adam and Hermes. The character on the left is Adam, but also Hermes. He reaches out to a mysterious fruit, the apple of knowledge, biblical version, or the quest for truth, Hermetic version. His caduceus explores the sky, symbol of divine investigation. This unique gesture overlays the original sin and the quest for knowledge. Chapter 3, Eve and Chloris. Chloris is Eve, cast out of paradise. Uriel, the angel of punishment, pushes her away. The roses that come from her mouth symbolize lost purity. These roses then migrate to the robe of the Virgin Mary, marking a passage from fault to redemption. Chapter 4, Mary and Venus. Venus is here the Virgin Mary, standing in a vegetal mandorla. Cupid above her represents Jesus crowning his mother. Compassion and redemption are embodied by this dual female figure. She touches the mouth of Apollo's horse, a solar symbol transformed into a Christian metaphor. Christ the Son. Chapter 5, the Trinity, the Zodiac, the Holy Spirit. The three graces are the Holy Trinity, but also the lunar cycle of the earthly world. Above her, the child Jesus shoots an arrow. It is the passion of Christ that leads to salvation. Greek letters, hidden in the gestures, would form the words, the Holy Spirit, visible only to the discerning eyes. Chapter 6, the swan, the fish, and the secret of the Christian era. A swan is hidden in the fabric, an allusion to the myth of the Leda, a figure of divine union. A fish symbolizes the Christian era of the fish, confirming the spiritual significance of the painting. Eve's hand touches the fish, suggesting the transition from the pagan world to the era of Christian salvation. Conclusion, a coded painting. In Spring, Botticelli does not depict a season. He encodes a cosmogony, a mystical narrative, a reconciliation between myth and gospel. For those who know how to look, this painting tells the story of the Holy Spirit's breath from the Garden of Eden to the celestial crowning of Mary. And you, do you see it now? Okay, so we will examine all that. We'll start at the end. There you go. Hello. Eve's hand. We will talk only about the biblical reading, the mythological reading. It's it's the goddess of flowers, Fleuris, or rather Chloris. So it is the hand of Eve that touches the mouth of the fish there. The mouth of the fish is suggested by the folds of the fabrics, isn't it? And then the tail of the fish that you see at the bottom. There are even two. And right next to it, on the right, on the left of the fish, you have an upside down swan. The head is down. You see down below, you have the head of the swan, the neck going up, and then the body, who is represented by the thigh of the female figure. This sign symbolizes a divine fertilization by a god. So this sign takes us back, as in another painting by Sandro Botticelli called Pallas, and the centaur. You have a symbol that is hidden and represents the myth of Leda. Leda is the swan. As for the fish, it symbolizes the birth of the Christian era. I put stencil taken from the painting. Here another painting, then by Botticelli, Pallas and the Centaur. On the right, you see, you have a swan. And we're even going to look for this image. There you go. You see, it's another painting by Sandro Botticelli called Pallas and the Centaur. I made a video about it, a long video. Go watch it. And it's a habit of Sandro Botticelli to hide the swan in the clothes. He did it in all four mythologies. You see, there you go. So here is a tracing that I sent to some Italian academics who were asking me for details. In another painting, Pallas and the Centaur. So there is a swan. Here is the painting. You see, there is the swan here in the green fabric. And between the two, you have the outline of a jar. It's the sign of Aquarius, the sign that pours water and indicates a transition here between the First Testament, embodied by the centaur, the horseman, and on the right, the woman embodies the Second Testament. I'm not going to redo the lesson on this painting. You have a complete video on it. But I draw your attention to the space between the two. Do you see? The outline of this space forms the jar. The jar is a water receptacle. It's a jar, isn't it? And the sign of Aquarius is a man pouring water. Here we are back to the spring by Sandro Botticelli. And do you see the outline? The outline draws the head of a horse, the profile, a horse's head. It is the horse of Apollo, which symbolizes ascension. The ascent towards what? Towards the zenith. The summit. What is at the summit? Jesus. So he uses mythological symbolism to talk to us about the biblical narrative. There you go. So you clearly see the horse's head on the left, and Mary touches the horse's jaw. So it signifies to us that it is the ascension, the day when Mary rises to the zenith, ascends to the heavens, where she is crowned by her Son, who is above. Isn't it? Here, it's Cupid, but in a biblical reading, it's the child Jesus. Jesus simply. And on the right, you have in the outline that is on the right, a horn. Now, it is said in the sacred texts that at the end of the world, an archangel I believe it's Raphael. I need to check. Who will blow the horn? And the sound of this horn will announce the apocalypse, the end of the world. All right? So you have the ascension and the apocalypse. There you go. There are many other things in this painting. I can show you one last thing before concluding this little lesson. Is it visible there? Underneath the feet of the goddess, who is also Eve, goddess Chloris, who is also Eve. So we stick with Eve. Eve banished from paradise and condemned to hell. Why do I say I am talking about hell? Because under her foot there is a poppy, a plant. If you look it up in an iconographic dictionary, you will see that the poppy symbolizes the god of hell. All right. Well, that will do for this little introduction. Actually, the painting contains many other symbols. There are also symbols related to flowers. I mentioned the poppy plant, which symbolizes thus Hades, Pluto Hades, god of the underworld. But you understood the meaning of the story in general. It's the biblical story hidden behind a mythological narrative. Thank you for following this short training. Leave your comments below the video. Feel free. To ask me for more information. There you go. You have my email. Thank you. See you soon.